Tubies, this is Bob Hickman. It is so rocking to be back with you. Well, you guys are just the best. I want to say thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's video, which was our Saturday night seance. If you didn't see that, I tell you, it was a rocking time. We had a lot of spirits come through, and I learned a lot from it. You know, people don't realize I get as much out of the seances as you do, because when I'm channeling, I don't know what's coming through, but when I go back and hear the tapes, then I'm like, wow. See, so I get nuggets of gold also. Anyways, if you haven't seen that, check it out. It's the video right before this one in the video queue. Anyways, I'm sitting here today. I've been looking at my pendant here. Check this out. Isn't this beautiful? I don't know if you can see it. This is a goddess from Tibet called Green Tara. And there she is. She's literally green. She's a green goddess. And we're going to talk about her today. You know, a number of you have been writing to me telling me that you're interested in Wicca, that you're exploring the concepts of God and goddess. And some of you have said to me, Psychic Bob, you know, I've explored working with the goddess Diana. I've explored working with the goddess Hecate. I've tried different goddesses, Freya, Sif, you know, a lot of different goddesses. But some of you have said that you just don't feel a connection with some of the Western gods or goddesses. And, you know, in that case, I would suggest you consider the alternative. Think about the Earth, right? The Earth is a globe. So we've been mostly focusing on the Western aspect because Western, you know, Wicca comes out of the Western pagan tradition. But today's pagans are a lot more eclectic, and we have the whole globe to look at in terms of working with deities. So today I thought we would talk about the deities of the East. That's a whole big subject, probably 10 videos. But today we're just going to talk about few goddesses, because a lot of people, when they first come to Wicca, want to know the goddess, because the goddess is, for many people, what draws them into Wicca. They've always felt like in the Western patriarchal culture that they've missed the divine feminine. And so it's not surprising that when many people join the craft, the first thing they want to do is find a goddess to connect to. And I think that's wonderful. And if you've explored a number of the goddesses and you really haven't found one you connect with, you know, maybe you want to kind of go east, you know. And by going east, you get introduced to a whole nother world of spiritual beings. And they're all wonderful, really they are. I thought we'd first talk about probably the goddess that I have loved and known the longest. And this is the goddess from China. Her name is Kuan Yin. I'll put a picture of up here of her for you. Kuan Yin is a wonderful goddess. She is known as the goddess of compassion. Now, depending on who you ask, she's either a bodhisattva, which means an enlightenment being, or a goddess. Kuan Yin is fascinating because she spans multiple religions. She's honored in Buddhism as, you know, the bodhisattva of compassion. Her name, Kuan Yin, the full name in Chinese is Quan Yin, which means she who hears the cries of the world. She is a being who looks into the earth, sees suffering, and reaches down to bring healing, blessing, and help to those in need. I first learned about Kuan Yin many years ago when I was studying Buddhism. And, you know, the first time I saw her, it really stuck in my mind. I never forgot her. And, you know, I started collecting Kuan Yin items. And, you know, to this day, I have actually a rather large goddess collection. So, you know, but I'll show you some of that in a little while. But Kuan Yin actually comes from the ancient Indian tradition. In Hinduism, there was a god known as Avalokiteshvara. And the name Avalokiteshvara is the Sanskrit name for Kuan Yin. And then again, it means he who hears the cries of the world. Now, Avalokiteshvara was originally thought to be a male deity. But in time, he evolved as he traveled throughout the world, and somewhere along the way, Avalokiteshvara transformed to a woman. And in China, now they call this deity Kuan Yin, Quan Yin, which is the Chinese name, and she's a woman. I actually heard recently, this is really fascinating, but it is true, I've researched it, that Kuan Yin is considered the patroness of the transgender people because she was a male and became female. Makes sense to me. So, if you're transgendered and you're looking for a deity, you might want to consider Kuan Yin, okay? Kuan Yin, though, I got to tell you, my personal experience with her has just been amazing. Whenever I've had time of need in my life, whenever I've had crisis, whenever I've been overwhelmed by the world, I literally would go to Kuan Yin temples. There are Kuan Yin temples all over Washington because we have a large Chinese population here. And I would go to Kuan Yin temples and pray to her. And I'm telling you, things changed. I can't explain it, but she would take away the fear, take away the pain, and my life would change and move forward in a positive direction. So I tell you, I'm a believer. I am a believer in Kuan Yin. I have so many things of her in my house here. And we'll come back to that. I'll show you all my goddess stuff in a little while. But for right now, it's important to look at Kuan Yin. She's goddess of compassion. She hears the prayers and sufferings of the world. You don't have to be a Buddhist to invoke her. Many Wiccans work with her. She's really a universal goddess. Even though her form and her name are Chinese, she's really been very much adopted, I should say, by people in the West. As again, she also is in the Taoist religion, so people that aren't even Buddhist have shrines and altars to her. And in many of our local Chinese restaurants here, a lot of the patrons love her and have shrines. So if you go to local Chinese places there, most of them have a little altar with the Buddha and Kuan Yin in it. We also have a large Vietnamese population, and I've been to a shopping center near where I live. It's an entire plaza. It's all Vietnamese, and every shop has Kuan Yin. So I love it because when I go into the shops, I see their altar. I always stop and I, bow and pray. And the owners are always shocked because they're like, you know about Kuan Yin? You're an American guy, I said, oh, let me tell you, Kuan Yin is part of my life. That always makes them so happy. So you might want to consider exploring Kuan Yin as a spiritual option. To work with her is very simple. By the way, just before I get into her altar, her mantra, there's two mantras for her. One is Namo Quan Yin Pusa, and that means Hail to Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva again means enlightenment being. So Namo Quan Yin Pusa, that's Chinese. Then there's the other mantra, which is Sanskrit Tibet. Sanskrit is also in Tibetan as well, which is Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Both of these mantras are used to invoke Kuan Yin. You don't have to have any formal initiations or rituals to worship her. Just start chanting her mantra. If you want to set up an altar for Kuan Yin, you could, for example, have a little picture that you set up, maybe put some water out, some incense. Very simple, beautiful though. I'm a big believer in Kuan Yin. In fact, let me show you here. This is one of my pictures of Kuan Yin. Isn't this beautiful? This is her on the water. She travels on a dragon sometimes. It's hard to see this, but I hope you can get a little sense of this scroll. Isn't that beautiful? So I love Kuan Yin. I really recommend you consider her. You'll notice that in Kuan Yin's iconography, she dresses like an empress. She wears a beautiful crown. She oftentimes holds a vase filled with water. It's healing water that nourishes the soul and refreshes you. She travels with a dragon. That means that she brings protection. Dragons are good fortune, blessing, and power. And so if you've got a dragon riding goddess carrying magical elixirs, she also holds in her hand here usually a willow branch. And that is also kind of to sprinkle blessings, and the cool breeze of the willow calms and restores peace. I love her. This is just one of my pictures. I have so much in my house. In fact, I'll before we go, I'll show you some more of her stuff. I'm a believer in Kuan Yin, and I invite all of you, if you're looking for a goddess of compassion, you can't go wrong with Kuan Yin. You really can't. She accepts worship from anybody. You don't have to be all holy and perfect. You go to her with just your cries of your heart. All she wants is an open heart that she can work with, you see. Now, if you like the Eastern goddesses, another one you might want to explore this is another one. I'm new to this goddess, but I'm exploring her and getting to know her. This is Green Tara. Green Tara, this is her picture here, originates out of Tibet. Isn't this beautiful? This is a tapestry that I have. It's all woven in silk. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got gold threads woven in it. But she's a powerful goddess. She is kind of the Tibetan equivalent of Kuan Yin. Green Tara is invoked through her mantra, which is Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha. So you can chant that Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha, Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha. You'll get the hang of it if you practice it. But this goddess, Green Tara, it's interesting. It's believed that she was a princess who millions of years ago honored the great Buddhas and the Dharma. Now you have to remember, in esoteric Buddhism, the Buddha is far more than just the historic Buddha. There are countless Buddhas and countless realms and dimensions. So this was a princess in another time and dimension who honored the Buddha. And she became so enlightened that she was offered her own chance at Buddhahood. And she said, I want to take this form to exhibit compassion and love to all people. Now, what's really fascinating is that the heart chakra in the Eastern tradition is believed to be a green color. And I find it fascinating that Tara in this form is green. Now, there are other forms of Tara, not just green. There are actually 21 forms of Tara, but the predominant ones are the green Tara and the white Tara. The green Tara is known as a protectress and swift to action. So if you're in danger, let's say you're walking through a jungle and a tiger comes after you, you might want to pray to Green Tara because she's on the scene quick and can liberate you from danger. She also liberates people from danger of the spirit. If you find that people are attacking you for your faith, and if you feel weak and your hope is dwindling, Green Tara comes in to bring fast relief and sweet healing balm. She protects you, she loves you, she nourishes you. She and Kuan Yin are believed to actually be related, and some people even say that Tara is the Tibetan version of Kuan Yin. In Tibet, Kuan Yin is known as Chenrezi or Avalokiteshvara, the male form. But it's believed that Green Tara emanated forth also from the power of Avalokiteshvara. So in a sense, this is very much like Kuan Yin. Some people say that Kuan Yin is actually another form of Tara, but her name got changed. So, I think really either way you look at it, Tara, Kuan Yin, they're really interrelated. But they each have a different, a vibe. Beautiful, gentle, loving, but they're distinct. In my opinion, they're distinct goddesses. So I pray to both of them. I pray to Green Tara and also to Kuan Yin. But I thought you'd enjoy seeing my tapestry. I'm in the middle of setting up an altar to Green Tara. So when it's done, I'll have that for you guys. But this is a beautiful stitched silk tapestry from China of Green Tara. Now, as I said, her mantra is Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. And what that translates roughly as is, I bow to the great enlightenment being Tara, who liberates and saves and is our protector. So that's kind of a rough translation of that mantra. Now, if you decide to go further south, you'll end up in India. And I tell you, India is still the land of the goddess. And one of my favorite goddesses there is the goddess Kali. Here's Kali. Kali is a special goddess. Now, a lot of people look at this In fact, I'm going to put a picture up here for you so you can kind of see some different versions of her. So as you can see, those forms of Kali are very intense, very scary. There are two major forms of Kali. One has 4 arms, and the other has like 10 arms. The 10-arm one is called Maha Kali, and this one with the forms is called Bhadra Kali. And Bhadra Kali is the more gentle form of Kali, but really each they're very powerful. Kali is believed to be the primal goddess. She's usually depicted in dark blue or black because she is believed her body is the cosmos. She is the great mother. In Hinduism, they have the Shakti school, and the Shaktas are the practitioners of goddess worship in India. They believe in magic, rituals, mantras, spells, and they share a lot in common with the modern day Wiccans. So if you're a Wiccan, you might want to also do research on the Shakta Hindus or the Shakti tradition in Hinduism, because you will see how much today's Wiccans share with the Shakta worshippers. Um, you know, now a lot of people are going to say, Bob, how can you worship a goddess that is that horrible? She's got blood dripping off of her, skulls around her. She's got chopped off arms as a skirt. Bob, it's pretty gross. I know what you're saying. But consider this. Think of the powerful love of a mother. If your mother loves you, there is nothing she wouldn't do to save you from sorrow and danger and destruction. She wouldn't. You can ask any of your mothers, you know what I'm talking about. So Kali takes a fierce form, yielding weapons, chopping off heads, and creating drama. But the thing to remember is Kali only takes a fierce form to fight demons and evil. The chopped off head that you see her holding here, we got some glare over here, is the head of a demon who is trying to destroy the entire planet. Okay, so she doesn't go around just killing people and being evil. Her wrath is reserved for those who injure the good, who injure her children, who destroy the earth and sacred places. Then she comes out in full force. For her devotees, though, instead of looking upon this image with fear, they look on it with loving reverence and awe. And they say, oh, our mother loves us so much, she goes insane with rage just to protect us. That's what I love. Now, Kali has an interesting history also. She is believed to be an emanation of the goddess Durga. And I didn't actually cover Durga today, but we'll touch in. I'll put a picture up here of Durga briefly. Durga was a goddess who came into the earth. She was created by all the gods to battle demons. And during a fierce battle where demons were taking over the earth, she became so enraged that from her forehead emanated goddess Kali. And Kali is like the wrathful form of Durga. Of the goddesses, Durga is partnered with Lord Shiva. And in the picture, you see her standing on Shiva. And this shows that Shiva was so worried because her power was growing so strong. He laid on the ground prostrate, begging for her to stop her destruction, lest all life should be destroyed. Her wrath, her fierceness is, earth-shattering, literally. But again, it's all out of love for her devotees. And Lord Shiva is her consort. Of the goddesses we've talked about today, she's the only one that has a consort. Kuan Yin is a single goddess. She has no husband or partner, and neither does Green Tara. Tara is also a singular deity. Green Tara also, forgot to mention, is also considered an earth mother. So she takes the green form as an earth mother. You could think of Kali as a cosmic goddess because her body is like the entire universe. And Kuan Yin is also very much an earth mother, for she takes care of all the troubles of the earth and brings wealth and riches as well. So these are just a few of the goddesses. I just want to bring them to you because a lot of people, when they start studying Wicca, don't know about these other forms of the goddess. And I think it's wonderful. You know, it's funny, I first discovered the goddesses of the East before I discovered the Western goddesses. So you see, I have a long time tradition, go back over, well, gosh, 25 years of worshiping Kuan Yin. Even before I was Wiccan, I honored her. So when I came to Wicca and they said, oh, there's a goddess, I was like, wow, now I get it. I understand how the Western religions relate to the goddess, you see. So understanding the Eastern goddesses may be a form or a path that you want to explore. Anyways, I'm going to show you a few of my Kuan Yin treasure pieces that I've collected over the years. So just stay here just a moment. So, you know, as I was saying, Kuan Yin is, of all the Eastern goddesses, is the one that I have the most connection to. My connection goes back over like 25 years, literally. And I want to show you a special treat here. This is the very first goddess statue I ever bought, and it was a Kuan Yin statue. And this is it. It's over 25 years old. I bought this in Chinatown, and I just was walking literally by a shop window, and they had a few of these sitting in the shop window. And it's like she called to me. So I went in. I said, I have to have it. I don't care what the price is. You know, I go kind of crazy like that. If it's a goddess, I don't care. I'll pay anything to have her. I just have to. So I love Kuan Yin. I brought her home. I think at the time she cost me like literally $7, you know. Nowadays, these are a lot more expensive. And they're hard to find, too. Not a lot of people are making them because they're made out of porcelain. And as you can see, she's on a beautiful pink lotus flower, which is covered in gold. They drape the Kuan Yin statues in real gold. So as you can see, this is really quite beautiful. She has kind of a beautiful fishnet pattern on her back. You can see beaded in the gold. Some people say those are pearls draped around her, and others say it's a fishnet because she's also very much a goddess of the fishermen. So I think there's truth in both. It could be a fishnet made of pearls. There you go. So I love Kuan Yin. Now, that's one of my statues. That's my very first one, and I've had her and loved her ever since. Another Kuan Yin I have is this little beautiful blue and white porcelain. This dates from the 1960s. Isn't that lovely? It might be the 50s. I think it's the 60s, 50s, 60s. So it's about 50 years old. But isn't she beautiful? Done in blue and white porcelain. Again, she stands on a pink lotus flower. And on her robes here, they have bamboo shoots. I don't know if you can see it. There's little bamboo shoots painted on it because she's, you know, bamboo offerings or these actually might be willow branches now that I look at it. Anyway, somebody told me it's bamboo and another person said it's probably willow. Either way, they're both plants associated with her. But isn't she beautiful? Look at that face. Truly a goddess of compassion. I love her. Now here's another Kuan Yin that I have in my collection. Ooh. Sorry, Kuan Yin. This one's very mystical Kuan Yin. As you can see, she has a big flaming halo in gold around her head here. And this is literally represents her power of her mind, her Shakti power. And she's draped again in this in white robes. A lot of times Kuan Yin is seen wearing white. And when she wears white, they always trim it in gold. Look at the beautiful gold work. They use real gold on these statues. And again, she sits on a pink lotus flower. Just beautiful. Look at that serene face. And she has on jewels like jade pendants and gold. Just beautiful. On her back they have, I believe these are actually bamboo shoots also. These look like bamboo done in gold. The artisans who make these really love Kuan Yin. You can tell because they're handmade. They're very hard to get nowadays. So if you ever see a Kuan Yin you like, buy it because you won't ever see the same one twice, literally. And then here's another Kuan Yin that's one of my treasure pieces in my collection. This sits at the entranceway to my house. She's kind of one of my guardians. Isn't she beautiful? You'll see in her hand there she has the willow branch right here. And that signifies her gentle healing and blessing powers. She has the nectar of immortality, the vase that brings life-giving waters. And this is beautiful. She's hand-painted, if you can see here. Lotus flowers all over her robes. These are all hand done. Again, she's done out of fine Chinese kaolin porcelain overlaid in solid gold and hand painted with lotus flowers. Just beautiful. I love her. She sits on this beautiful gilded lotus. Look at that. Each leaf is porcelain, handmade. And I don't read Chinese, but I think somebody told me the guy I bought this from was Chinese. I think it says Namo Quan Yin down the bottom. Like Namo Quan Yin. So it's like Hail Quan Yin. But I don't speak Chinese. So if anybody out there reads Chinese, if you can translate that for me, I'd love to know. It might say something like, you know, stupid American guy spent too much. Well, probably not. But anyways, I love Kuan Yin. She's so beloved to me. So, you know, but you don't have to spend a fortune to honor the goddess, you know. Most of my statues I got at pretty good prices. The statues of Quan Yin do tend to run a little higher. But, you know, if you want to set up a shrine to the goddess, you could also use a picture. Now, I actually printed this picture off the internet and framed it myself, and it was a lot cheaper than buying a framed Kali print at a store. And so cost me what, 50 cents to print it and $1 for the frame. So there's $1.50. And look, this is a perfect centerpiece for a Kali altar. They do also make Kali statues as well. But you know, for just starting out, you might want to consider a picture. And then as you get more money and you can put together a more elaborate altar if you want to, then you can move up. Also, you know, remember there are also, particularly in the Eastern traditions, there are tapestries you can buy. Like this is green Tara. So there's another option. And of course, you know, I also love Kuan Yin. If you like scrolls and want to have an altar that has a wall piece, you might want to get a scroll of Kuan Yin. So we have a lot of options for honoring the Eastern goddesses. And, you know, I have to tell you, it's funny because it really was the goddesses of the East that I first met before I ever met the Western goddesses. And I love all the goddesses. You know, really all goddesses are one goddess when you really get down to it. But these are just a few I wanted to bring to you today, and I hope it gives you some insight. So anyways, tell me in the box below, have you ever worshipped or heard of any of these Eastern goddesses? Which ones do you know about? Maybe you know about Kuan Yin. Tell me in the box below. I'd love to hear about it. Well, guys, listen, thanks for being here. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. We have more coming. Tomorrow on Monday, we're going to talk about some more Wiccan stuff. I haven't decided exactly yet what we're going to do, but we'll be back here. We're going to talk about some magical stuff on Monday. Also, make sure to like this, favorite, share it with your friends. Let's get the word out about Spirit Channel. Hit subscribe, be part of our scene. We'd sure love you to be here. Anyways, guys, thanks for being here. Oh, by the way, also go over to my website, robert-hickman.com. I'll put the link below and get your free daily horoscopes. Every day I post horoscopes, and you can get yours. So I hope you'll check it out. Thanks for being here. Sending you guys blessings. Love you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow.